Welcome to the clashing of steel. It's been quite a long while since I last played Leonidas, and it should come as no surprise that even my skills deteriorate if I don't play a certain commander, or a commander with certain units. Since I do know the basics, understanding Leonidas and using him might not be that hard. The basics of fighting infantry with Leonidas is simple. Phalanx, try to move into enemy, bash and move back out, perhaps even strike somewhere in there. My first idea was, as always, to defend the ranged units, because with Leonidas I can do it so much better than with any other infantry. But because both archer players went down south into the forest, I saw that I need to stay up in the north just in case. Our biggest problem is the lack of ranged units. We do have the catapult. It can work, but up to a distance. And that is a problem, especially if our opponents get close. And this is just a waste. Horsemen, they charged into Falksmen. They tried to move through the Falksmen, and Falksmen are swarming them right now. Yeah, that's just painful. So, since the horsemen are dead, it's my turn to start scouting. And I already don't like what I see. Pikemen. And if there were only pikemen there's gonna be a lot of nasty other stuff being thrown at me as well. I already don't like being here. I'm getting hit in the back with the slingers. I do try to dodge it or turn towards them, but unfortunately I'm not used to the turn rate of these units. And of course the light artillery is giving their best shot at me. I do try to, well, turn towards the slingers, but I for some reason fail so miserably, although I try to adapt to it. At least the unit is alive, if nothing else. And I don't think the pikemen knew about the light artillery. We could have really used those horsemen who just died miserably up in the northern forest fighting against Falksmen. Why would they even do that? I do not know, but it's just painful to watch. We have basically given them the advantage. We have given them the hill. We do not know what is there, and they have pretty much free roam. We have basically given them all the northern forest and the hilltops. That is a big loss right there. Actually, there is only one good thing about this location where we are at, and that is the watchtower. Of course there are the bottlenecks, but we have no use for them if we get shot from above and basically thrown apart. And here comes my second target, or second focus. These horsemen, as are to be expected, are going for the base, or at least will be going for the base. And since I am playing Spearmen, it would be best if I would go to the defense of the base. And so the Falksmen have pushed through. And yes, the pikemen are afraid. They should be. There were javelins back there. So I can easily make it in time, I don't worry about that. Plus we have another unit of horsemen behind our base. But sadly they started moving a bit too soon and could have been waiting for me and then charged into them. I might have been able to support them, but I can understand it. It is Alexander and he loves to hammer. And so basically now we have lost the hill. And even catapults cannot be used at this moment. At least the southern side was victorious. The match is still pretty much up in there. The team balance is near equal. And the north, of course, is not doing that well. We don't have anything to deal with the ranged units or the pikemen, and of course the horsemen are creeping about. Our catapults should have probably retreated a while ago, but they don't seem to be in any hurry. And oh, the horsemen, of course. This is the only great thing that has happened to me. Someone to take care of. Something I can bash and be happy about. We are basically forced down here because we don't have any ranged units, preferably archers. If we would have had at least 2 units of them, we might have been able to harass them enough for them to leave our northern side of the watchtower. Or if not leave, at least we would have delayed them and they might have not been so aggressive. Although fortunately our pikemen have held their aggression at bay. Oh, and here comes the impact charge. Smashes into you and takes away half your health. You just have to love it. But since the south side is now working their way up the north, I can actually think about staying under the watchtower to give them vision, because there are the only archers. And as usual, the light artillery loves to take shots at me. But I don't mind as long as we have the archers. If I can give them vision and they can harass, I have done my part. And right now, I happen to get surprised. I am focusing my other units actually. I'm focusing on them where and how I want to move them. But suddenly, when you see these units in the middle here and you realize that you're too late, it is painful. As I said, I am a bit rusty. I haven't played Leonidas with Spearmen for quite a while. Miltiades could probably catch them off guard with the charge at least. But I am doing my best to adapt to this messed up engagement I am in. Opponents actually still have chances. But because they are spreading, their chances of being successful will go way down. The Falksmen are going one way, their artillery and the pikemen are up on the top with the slingers, and of course their javelins and swordsmen are coming down towards the watchtower. And now it is time for me to spread. The light artillery can shoot at me, but when I'm sprayed, I will still hold the watchtower and he will do minimal damage, giving us vision over them. This is what can happen when opponents are just holding the hill. They have the high ground. They would also have the vision, but since we do have the watchtower, we are able to see them, and by that they can't take us by surprise. This is actually also where most of my score comes from. I'm giving vision, and so I'm getting a lot of support points for the damage that has been inflicted. As I said before, I am slightly rusty, and so I kinda failed against this Falksman. I could have gotten here a lot earlier, but I just used phalanx a bit too early and tried to move to them. Phalanx makes me already slow, and I am even slower in the forest. Plus, maneuvering your phalanx or managing them in different points of the map requires a lot more awareness and multitasking than one might think. As you see here, for a moment my awareness was away, and at the same time my spearmen got struck by the Falksmen. Although eventually I did use the phalanx, I still got hammered quite heavily. So the most important thing is not to give away your high ground, which we basically did. We gave away our hill. But fortunately we had the watchtower, so we had chances of bouncing back. Our opponents would have had excellent chances up on the hill if they just would have regrouped and not spread. But as usual, there is someone or some ones who think that they know everything and do something that is not reasonable. As I said before, the high ground actually does not help them that much there, because we do have the watchtower and we can't see them. Because my units are a bit spread, I don't notice when these swordsmen get behind me and charge into me. It is hard to pay attention in the right area if you haven't played Spearmen for a long while and you haven't done this type of heavy proper multitasking. But I did my best and I managed to be good. So let's take a look at the scoreboard. There is not much more to see. So most of my score was basically support. I did some offense, some defense and some capture points. But the biggest part of it was holding my watchtower. So I did support points by keeping opponents in sight while they took damage. The friendly pikeman in my team also did quite well, and Catapult, well, he did all he could. The opposing light artillery was one of the biggest annoyances. Their pikemen and slingers were also a bit annoying, but fortunately they didn't have massive number of range units up there. They did have the Germanicus with 1 unit of javelins and 2 units of swordsmen, but they kind of failed when they walked into pikes. So, as usual, high ground is important. You might not want to give it away that easily, but we managed to make it work because we had the watchtower. At least we were able to hold them, but in the north the deck was stacked against us and it might have been a lot harder if we didn't have the pikemen. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and thanks for watching.